Hello traders, Day Trader Matt here with businesswithtrading.com, doing an Emini Trading Room recap for Wednesday the 17th of December. And today was another awesome day in the markets. You know, we're already up over 100 points in the trading room this month already, and now we've just added even more to our figure. It's turning out to be a great month. Today we had 5 trades. We were 5-0, and we pulled 21 and 3/4 points out of the market today. Very great day. And actually, all 5 of our trades were long. You know, you could look at this and see why. You know, but that it just goes to show, you know, you kind of have to look at the market, and you're not always going to look at it and you know, after the trading time is over, look at it and say, you know, all of my trades were in the direction of the overall trend. You know, some of your trades are going to be counter. You know, and that's one thing that I definitely hammer home in the trading course. You know, there's a time to, you know, be long and a time to be short. There's a way to trade with the trend, and there's a way to trade counter trend. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. You know, I've met some people that they only want to trade one way or the other, trade trend or trade counter trend. You know, but there's a way to make it work. I like to incorporate both just because I think it makes a lot of sense to incorporate both. On certain times, you only want to trade one or the other. You know, and I would focus on trend if I was going to trade only one style. You know, trading counter trend is okay, but sometimes it can get you in trouble. You know, I've been there, done that, and this was, you know, before I was a really great trader. You know, I think I'm a great trader, but you know, we should all feel that we're really good at the skill sets that we have. You know, maybe you're really great at building a house, like my dad is. You know, maybe you're really good at something else. You know, really just depends on you. But whatever you do, you should feel that, you know, you're really good at it. Anyway, let's get into the market and talk about what we did on the day. Our first couple trades were pretty quick. Our first trade happened right up here. We were long. Basically long at 3 even here, and we got out towards the top of this. We would be right about here at 4 3/4. Market did come back down, and we ended up getting long again right in here at 3 even here. We were able to ride that up. We did get out fairly quickly. So we ended up getting out right at 5/4 here. You know, looking at it, yeah, we could have held out for a little bit longer, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, market does come up. We ended up getting long again over here. Basically at having a hard time reading the price apparently. At 9/4, got long right up here, and we ended up taking profit on this move up right up here at 0.75. So we got out right there. Very quick trade. Market chopped around for a little bit, and we just watched the market. Didn't do anything. We'll, you know, round numbers. We'll say from 9:45, blah blah blah. We kind of watch things as they move sideways, and our next trade was right here. So let's say from 9:45 to 10:56, we did nothing but watch the market. You know, and I think it does take a certain skill to do that. You know, but that's what I teach. You know, I'm very good at what I do. I'm very good at, you know, teaching others because I have taught thousands of people, and I'm not really the type of person that brags. I'm not a big marketer or anything like that. That's not what I do, and I really don't give a shit about that. All I care about is I'm good at what I do, and I can teach others, and I get really great emails and stuff like that, and it makes me feel good, and that's what matters most to me. I don't care if I've worked with more people than anyone else in the world, or whatever. It doesn't matter to me, because I know what I do works, and I have proof of that, not only because I've done it, but because others have done it. So that makes me feel good. But anyway, I don't want to get off on too much of a rant. I kind of feel myself going that way. So anyway, right here we ended up getting long again at 8/4, which is right here, pretty much. Right here. So we got long, and then we ended up taking 1 point of profit on that. So we did get out fairly quickly. We kind of watched things, watched it come down, watched it come up, and as price came down, we did take a long at 2.5. So we actually got a really good entry, looking at it in hindsight. And I'm not a top tick, bottom tick type of guy, but I try to get good entries, and they're always limit orders. So I always specify my price. I want to get in at this price. I have my stop at a certain price. And then usually the target, I will have it at a certain price. Sometimes my targets are, a little vague. I'll say I want to get in here, and then once price moves in my favor, I'm going to play the risk protection game, meaning my target is open, but I want to protect myself. And that's pretty much how we managed this trade. From our 2.5 entry, we kind of held off, watched price. We ended up getting out here at 8.5. So very nice trade there. Stop. We probably moved our stop up a little too aggressively, but I was okay with that. Plus, it was already 11:40. On the Wednesday prior to FOMC, I don't really want to be in the market after 12 o'clock. I don't want to be in the market going into 12 o'clock. So, this trade was a little aggressive for me, because I'm usually, FOMC, usually after about 10:30, 11, the trades are usually kind of crappy. But the market has been pretty awesome coming into today. And, because of that, and because, the price was moving pretty well, I figured, let's do it. Why not? Worst case scenario, we lose a little bit of money, but we've made so much already, we're okay. And it worked out. Worked out really well. And price ended up going up a little bit more. As I was doing my analysis, it was kind of chopping around a little bit, and then it came up a little more, and eventually the target area I was looking for got hit. Very interesting. And it was actually after the FOMC when the target area I was looking at got hit. The first area got hit over here. Well, the lower end of it did. And then after FOMC, bam, our target got hit. Obviously, I usually don't trade in the afternoons, and today was one of those days when I don't trade in the afternoons. I had a couple other positions that I was able to take off. But it's just, the ability to look at the market and, say this is what I'm thinking is going to happen, and, seeing it happen, and it definitely adds a lot of faith in the methodology. So anyway, that's why I was showing that, not to say, hey, look at that, I called this, because who gives a shit? People are always out saying I did this, I did that, and in reality it doesn't matter. It's you called this, okay, did you make any money on it? Most people don't, and it doesn't matter. I had every day when I close the room, I'll do my analysis, and sometimes I have a couple different scenarios, and sometimes I feel more strongly about a certain scenario. I don't know why that word's hard to say, but I always have, this is my primary outlook. This is my not primary outlook, and I'll give it. Sometimes I don't really have any clear direction, but I'm like, it can do this or that. Today the only thing I was really thinking was it's going higher, and it was good to see that. But I think it'll definitely be an interesting rest of the week, just because the market's moving really well, and it's definitely turning into a great December. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video today. Everyone in the room, congratulations. It was an awesome day. And for email subscribers, I do have a little bonus underneath for, you can check that out if you want. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you back here in the markets. Thank you.